Okay, welcome to the basic texture creation tutorial brought to you by modsonline.com. What I'm going to do here is take you through the creation of a very basic texture for Call of Duty 2 and show you that how to get it into the editor and get it into the game. I know there's people having problems with it. It's pretty simple once you do it once, you're going to figure it out. Okay. First thing we need to do is create a DDS texture. So I'm going to bring in a JPEG image into Adobe Photoshop. There are other conversion methods out there right now, but I use this. You can go to the NVIDIA website. I believe they have a JPEG to DDS converter as well. It's important to know that when you create a DDS texture for Call of Duty 2, it has to be at a power of 2, which doesn't mean divisible by 2. I know there's been some confusion. Power of 2 means it has to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So you're going to end up with 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024, and so on. Those are all powers of 2. So when you create your image and you create your image size, you have to make sure that it is 1024, 128. Both of those are powers of 2, so that's good. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and save that as a DDS. File. And two things you have to make sure of is that we're saving it in the DXT3 format and that we're not using mip maps. The old one you had to generate mip maps because it used the DDS and created its mip maps within that. Mip maps for Call of Duty 2 and the DX9 textures are handled differently. So we go ahead and save that and we're done. Okay, so we've now created our DDS texture right here. We're going to go into the Activision folder, which will have Call of Duty 2, and we're going to go into the main folder, and we're just going to right click and new folder. Okay, we're going to call this folder images. This folder is now going to have nothing in it but our new DDS texture. Okay, that's all we need to do there for now. Now we're going to go into our asset manager, which is in the mod tools, asset manager, and we're going to create a new texture, which is actually a new material. Okay, new entry. We're going to call this Mods Online logo because that's what it is. That brings up a whole new bunch of options for you. The material type, there's really only two that the average user is going to be needing: the world fong, which is your textures, and your 2D, which is what you're going to use to create your loading screens and things like that. Joe Blow map makers, that's pretty much all they're going to need. So we need the world fong there. The sort, again, this is all part of the DX9 and the way it handles textures and the multi-layer texturing. So what we're going to do is we're just going to, because in order to keep it simple here, we're going to go with the multiplicative texture. The surface type is how it reacts. If you shoot it, if you walk on it, what sounds it's going to make, what effects are going to play, so on and so forth. For this one, I'm going to make it metal. The usage, again, what are you going to use this texture for? This is how you're going to sort it out and find it. Half of it anyways. So I'm going to make it a sign because it's kind of a Mods Online sign. Okay, and I'm going to put it in, I'm going to put it in the test textures. Okay, the blend function, until you start getting into alpha textures and having an alpha channel in your DDS, you don't need this really, so it stays at replace. Cull face, none. Okay, and that's all you need to do there. Again, this has to do with your multi-layer. This kind of gives you the look of a specular bump map. Your alpha test, again, is part of your alpha channel textures. You don't need any of that for average texture. Okay, your color map is actually your texture. So Now we're going to go look, and we've put our texture into our, for whatever reason that's missing this, but we put our texture into our images file in the main folder, and there's our DDS that we've created. Okay, we're just going to click open, and there it is. Tiling both ways, it's multiplicative, which means the texture can multiply, and that's all we really need to do there. So we're going to go File, Save, and it's going to create a game data file for us. Now this game data file is in an effort for you to be able to categorize your textures and any other items that you import into the game. It helps you keep track of them so that you know what you need to include in any IWD that you create to distribute your work. Okay, so mine's going to be called StrYdeR because that's what I'm going to call it. Okay, it's also something to note here. People are asking me about the game data file. I'm going to open my game data file, right? And it's going to have this texture in it already. Now I can also create another, and it's told me I've created a new material. I haven't created any of these things down here. Okay, new material. I can create another new material. The last one was called Mods Online Logo. We can call this one Mods Online Logo 2. Okay, back to square one with this. Right? We can use a different image if we want. I don't have any other ones made up for me right now, but that's the gist of it. Okay. So now we have that selected. We're going to do a PC convert. You can also do a Xenon convert for if you're going to have your texture on a console, which they haven't given us all the information on yet. But so a PC convert, and this is the thing. If you're porting a map over and you know that you need 10 textures, get them all in here all at once. Okay, just create your new entry, new entry, new entry. Get all your textures in here at once, and then create all or modify all your assets, convert them over. But since we've only got one, we're going to convert the current asset only, which will convert the selected one, or you can go all assets, which would do the same thing with only one texture there. So current asset only pops up the little DOS window. It's definitely not a slow process to do a simple texture. Okay, it says right at the end, conversion done, hit key to continue. So just press any key and away we go. So now we've created our texture. How do we know that? Well, let's go take a look. In our Activision folder again, Call of Duty 2, main, there's our images folder. Now look at that. Here's our DDS, the original one. Okay, this and this here, the Mods Online banner file, the IWI, is the actual texture. The identity file is where to find it. Okay, you need to include those two in your images folder in any IWD that you create. Also, the materials folder showed up. Inside that materials folder is the actual way that the game engine handles it, handles your texture. So you also need to include this file within this directory in any IWD that you create. So now that we've got those going on, we're going to go and we're going to open up our editor. Come on. Where am I going? Right there. Okay, we're going to open up our editor, and I have created a little simple box map, and I'm just, come on, I'm going to go ahead and open that up. It's nothing special, don't be surprised. It's pretty much a box. Might have recognized it from Foilman's tutorial. Okay, and basically down here in our textures window, it's showing the one that's in use. Texture is in use. Okay, now I'm going to go down and I'm going to look at my sign textures. Lots of them, right? But I also put this into the locale of test. Look at that. There's the texture that we created. And just to show you that it works, I'm going to Control Shift and click, left click to select just the face of the brush, and escape to deselect, shift and click to select the whole brush, which I don't want to texture the whole brush, I want to just texture what I can see. And actually I'm going to texture all of the, make it, oh come on, and just click my texture and look at that, pow. Okay, a couple of them are backwards, this one here, do a texture flip, this one's backwards, do a texture flip. Okay, if I wanted to, I could line them up, Control Shift S to bring up the surface inspector, and I could shift it horizontally. Let's keep going until that kind of lines up. Something like that. This one, surface inspector, and I'm going to bring it back this way. Oh, what happened there? Do a texture flip, back it up a bit. Well, would you quit pissing me around? Done. Whatever. Okay. Oh, what happened there too? Look at that. Texture flip. Okay. And I'm just going to press File, Save. Okay. And we're done in the editor. Now we're going to go to the compiler. It's in the Mod Tools, Compile Tools. And one thing that you'll notice about my compile is I have added the modified bat file that I uploaded to modsonline.com. Basically because I don't like the output that it was giving me. I don't like the fact that this front end, when you press compile, I selected my map and I press compile, and it would compile my map and close the window and no interaction from me whatsoever. I like to see what's going on with my map. So I want to know if there's any errors or if there's any warnings or anything that I should be aware of that's wrong or could be wrong with my map. So basically I look and nothing there, press any key to continue. So I press any key to continue and it's going to go through it again. It's created my BSP, now it's doing the lighting. And again, finish, no warnings, no errors, press any key and done. And that's pretty much it. We'll just run our selected map and it's probably going to be hell on the FPS. Okay, and our map is loading up. And we're in there, and you can see in the background that we've got our texture has been applied, and we'll just pick a team, and look at that. Sounds like metal when you walk on it, sparks like metal, ricochets, sounds like metal. Yeah, it's just that easy. So enjoy.